Welcome back. We are inside the Slab Lab with a personal favorite of mine. Straight out of Oaktown. That's right. Out of Oakland, California. 6-rounder.
Took a deal, signed another deal. Post up in the hills on the rail. Headed
Bryan Woo of the Seattle Mariners.
Dropping buckets. Yeah, like it's nothing.
You don't have to be a first-round pick to make it.
Swing and a miss, got him.
You are featuring more strikes than a fucking labor union.
Tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, baby, cause I'm dropping buckets.
I am envious of how you go about your business on the mound. It's cool, calm, collected, silent assassin type approach. And it's, here's a fastball, I got some other stuff too, but I'm gonna force feed you these two guys and we're gonna see how that goes. So when you hear the word fastball, what do you think?
It's step one. Like, I think you've got to establish something, especially in today's game of like, there's velo, there's spin, there's all the analytics and stuff like that. But as a pitcher, you've got to establish a presence out there. Everybody's got their thing. Everybody's got their bread and butter. But for me, I'm lucky enough that it's seal number one. And, you know, as I'm learning and going through the first couple of years, like, you go through scouting reports, you go through things like that. You learn about, you know, what guys can hit, what guys can't. Also learning that my number one's a little different. So.
It is very different. And that's, so let's start there. Let's pop the hood.
Yep.
4-seam grip.
Yeah, super basic. I used to hear a lot about like the fingers together, pressure on the seams, you get the spin rate, you get whatever. But I think honestly for fastballs, it's all a comfort thing. Like,
sure.
So I've started to spread them out a little bit more. It just feels better in my hand than trying to like force it together. And like, I started cutting it, I started doing weird things, and like comfort and just like commitment's gotten better with it. Just like a little bit more spread. So a little bit of life in between there and just grip and rip.
Is that in an effort to sort of prevent getting on one side of the center of the baseball?
Yeah,
as opposed to being able to sort of split it and what I'll say, split the difference?
Yeah, I think like I used to just watch videos and stuff like, you know, guys would talk about fingers together of like, you can spin the baseball a little bit more, like central pressure. And my placement started getting a little bit weird. Like sometimes I'd be on one end, sometimes I'd be the other. Especially playing long toss, like you can see true flight of the ball of like, you can see it sometimes cut a little bit. You can see it, especially as a low slot guy, I like to see a little bit of run.
You want some
over, yeah, especially over like 200, 300 feet. You want to see a little bit of that. And then like comfort and like athleticism, you play catch. I try to play catch like I'm playing infield, like shortstop, on the run, doing all types of stuff. You're not going to tell an infielder like, hey, put your fingers like this, put them together, try to spin it like no, you're just being athletic. You're just playing ball. Like, so I think that's kind of like the base. That's the core of what I try to be about.
You said something that caught my attention. I would play catch on a football field so that I had the line as a reference. Have you implemented or have you dabbled in anything like that? As far as tools are concerned, training tools?
Yeah, I mean, you play with the different tools and stuff. Like you got the clean fuego.
Yes.
I love throwing the football. If you're out on it, like lucky enough to have a football field, or like sometimes you come out to the field and they've got like the cut of the grass with the lines. Like if it lines up with like how you're playing catch, I'll pick a lane and just kind of stay with that.
Yes.
Like you just kind of got to create, you know, little things.
Well, it's like
especially
reinforcing.
If it's right there, take it.
And it's reinforcing the same sort of target that you're picking up 60 feet, 6 inches away, right? We got a lane.
Yeah.
And I love that you say that because that's what you're trying to do is you're trying to figure out which lanes you're going to attack based on the movement, based on your movement profiles.
Yep.
Sinker.
Oh, he locked him up. He froze him with a good two-seamer.
Split the train tracks, torque it a little bit. So I feel a little bit of pressure right here.
On the inside of that.
Yep, on the right here, outside. So you see guys talk about like thumb placement. I think it's all comfort, honestly. Like some guys can tuck it and you'll get a little bit more. I think for me, it's harder to control when I tuck it. So I'm like under it. I think the outside is like, you won't quite get enough movement. This is like a little bit too frisky for me. So this is kind of like a good middle ground. Under it, but not tucked. And then, yeah, just being a low slot guy, being a supinator, having some pressure out there already. Throw it just like my fastball and my 4-seam and just let it run.
So is there a cue? Because guys, when we start to dabble in the seam shift approach, I think there are some things that run counterintuitive to what you would naturally think, right?
Yeah.
And especially as a guy who supinates, to try to get you to turn something over could create a disastrous result or a result that you're not really into. So now we can orient the ball, we can orient the seam in a way where your natural release lets the baseball end up catching wind and doing what it does.
I didn't really know that I had that effect on it. I kind of just like, oh, I have this grip and I throw it and it moves like that. But now it's more learning that like, no, there's a reason that you do it, but it's because you don't try to change anything. You just try to throw it like you throw and have it be natural and let the grip and, you know, whatever comes out of your hand kind of do its own thing after. It's comfort. It's keeping a similarity to your four seam and like your thought process through it so that there is no changing. It's just simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. The more simple you can keep your approach and, you know, pitch to pitch or whatever it is, like keep things as much like for me, like my four seam as I can, then keeps everything else easier.
Keep it basic.
Yeah.
No need to be out there trying to reinvent the wheel.
Yep.
All
Exactly.
right. Cambio, change piece.
Strike three call.
It's a pitch that I'm really starting to fall in love with.
So that's music to my ears.
Yeah, it's a pitch that like I've tried to throw this pitch for 6, 7, 8 years now, and it's like I'm just starting to get a feel for it within the last year or two.
Let me cut you off. What has been the biggest hurdle?
I think for a while I used to baby it because I wanted the speed off. After getting called up to the big leagues, like I had some success with it a little bit in college and like in the minor leagues, but it was just really inconsistent. I'd have it one start, I wouldn't have the next start. Woody, our pitching coach, he's so good at just about simplicity and like keeping everything like my fastball. So he's like, how do you throw your sinker? I said, I throw it like this, I throw it like my fastball. All right, now do this and throw a fastball. And it was just like the thought process of grip and rip, let the grip do the work, commit and go. And I think that's what's helped the most. I started throwing this like long toss.
Sure.
I started throwing it 120, 150 feet.
Yes.
A weird thing that I kind of picked up on last year that I'd throw it like to get out front.
Sure.
So throw it like I'm trying to pull down on a heater and then see it hit and go. It just forced me to rip down, pull it down like a fastball. You see some movement on it, but I'm really like forcing myself to get out front.
Yes.
And so it's just like you create little, you know, little games, little things in your mind, little things when you're playing catch to try to like create that feel. Bottom of the horseshoe, I go right on the callus there. These two, and then I actually like a little bit of pressure there on the inside of my middle finger.
Sure.
On the seams there. Thumb is kind of just like resting on this bottom seam-ish. And then these two guys are also just kind of resting wherever they're comfortable.
They're just chilling.
Because I used to, for a while, you see like the videos of like Pedro and, you know, guys that used to talk about these two.
Yeah.
This guy was the killer. This guy was the driver. And it just didn't work for me. And like I would try different things and
Pedro's wrapping his damn fingers.
I mean,
you ever see him do that?
He's like he's on half of the ball, and I'm like,
he can touch these two fingers around the baseball. Like that ain't for you or me, brother.
It made no sense. So I think that's another big thing with the changeup is like it's something that's got to be comfortable to you. You know, your changeup grip's gonna be different, my changeup grip to the next guy's, and it can all come out nasty. Like it's different for everybody.
I love what you're saying about playing catch with the changeup at depth, because that's something that I would do. 90 feet coming in, that's where I would pull down the changeup. And it was the idea that you're talking about. I'm trying to throw this pitch not to a spot, but through a spot because I can trust the grip that I've already implemented. And so being able to get that feedback at 90, 120, 150, you have felt has really helped you finish the pitch out front.
Using distance to get real feedback. You talk to guys like, some people use like the dots on the balls and things like that. Just like stuff that before we had TrackMan and numbers and all that stuff, like using your eyes to, you know, give you immediate feedback in catch play.
Slider.
Under the payoff, and Freeman swings and misses.
We got two variances here. We've got that old sweeper that everybody's talking about, been talking about it, but you got the gyro too. And we're starting to see a little bit of different usage with these two pitches. So first show me the grip on each one of these, and then we'll get into the mindset behind these guys.
The sweeper, starting to use a little bit more. So I started throwing this pitch in 23, spring training in 23. So before I got called up, I was in the minor leagues. First big league camp, was really having trouble like getting a consistent slider. And they had me try this one, hook the horseshoe, and then spike the index.
So you're spiking it too.
Yep. So
Okay.
we're in there.
That's a big spike. So that's not just a little.
Yeah, like you can play with it a little bit. I don't like the knuckle spike,
No,
but
that's-
just, just enough that I can feel most of the pressure here and it comes out kind of on its own, getting this finger out of the way. It's been a tough pitch for me to like get used to. I've never been able to make a pitch move that much, especially glove side. I was always kind of able to make a pitch go right. I could throw the changeup sometimes, but getting a consistent slider, I wasn't a great, I wasn't a great like spinsman, I guess. Like I couldn't.
Really, even now, as you find yourself supinating more naturally with ease, it was still difficult to get it to.
I'm getting better now, but like I didn't grow up throwing spin until I got to basically college. I didn't pitch a whole lot in high school either, so like didn't have a whole lot of reps with sliders or curveballs. So it was just like a reps thing. And then like visually, as someone who I like to see where I'm starting pitches instead of where I'm finishing.
Sure.
So like seeing a pitch that I'm starting in the right-hander's batter's box to end up in the middle of the plate, like it just visually, it was weird for a while. Yeah, it didn't
make sense.
Didn't make any sense. I was like, how am I going to start a pitch over here and it's going to end up over here? It's almost just like a confidence pitch. It's just like,
sure,
I'm gripping it and it's going to go where I need to go. And
when I watch the outings and then you look at the numbers and I'm able to draw the correlation between the reasons that we're seeing pitches more or seeing less, we can see the swing rates, we can see the chase rates. We have all of that at our disposal as analysts, but I'm watching the consistency with which you are throwing this pitch for strikes. You're getting the chase that you're looking for. And that's like a graduation to another level. You're no longer just throwing this pitch.
For sure.
You're pitching with this pitch.
Yeah. So the gyro's bottom corner of the horseshoe here. We go middle finger, not hooked, but it, feeling that corner. And then I've actually played with the index finger and kind of like the roll in the pitch. The thumb is kind of resting on that seam on the bottom there. So I've actually played with like the shape of it. If they're together, I try to throw it as being like a low slot guy. Yep. I think football, I think this way. If I'm behind it, it's just the nose is too high. It's like a bad cutter. The finger together, it's like 5 and -5, 6 and -6, like kind of a cutter-y shape. And then when I pop the index finger, I actually kill some vert and it's a little bit more down. So this year I've started to play a little bit more with like top of the zone, fingers together, cutter, index finger up, bottom of the zone, away. So it's weird. Like you start, experimenting, you start playing with some things, and then even just like mid-game, you're like, wait a minute, I can do that, and then I can also do this, and it's just like a small little adjustment.
Buddy, that's trouble for the rest of the universe. That is absolute trouble for the.
On the edge, strike 3 called.
Bryan Woo, outstanding 1-2. Swing and a miss, struck him out.
You have been filling up the strike zone more so than anybody in baseball, my dude. What is the mindset behind attacking the strike zone? Because it's one thing to want to go out there and throw strikes and not nibble. I don't want to get my ass kicked. I don't want to back up third.
Yeah.
It all starts with feeding the beast, and that's the strike zone.
Yeah. It started with getting drafted to the Mariners and their kind of pitching philosophy, and it's a combination of them showing you, your stuff and where it plays and how you can use it, but also just showing you the pure numbers of, you're in good counts right away. You're going after, you're being on the offensive side as a pitcher. More good things are going to happen than not. You try to nibble, you try to hit spots, like even as guys that can, dot a gnat's ass, like if you miss by this much, especially in today's game where umpires are getting better, hitters are getting better, you hit your spot, but you're off by half an inch, you're 1-0.
Yep.
So really just using the middle of the plate early on, especially with a good fastball, good off speed, whatever it is, go get ahead, go be on the offensive side, set the tone, and then get to 2 strikes, take your shots, put guys away.
The best pitch in baseball is strike 1.
Yep.
Nobody has a better first pitch in baseball than you. 73% first pitch strike rate. That is astronomical. Is there any added level or any added layer to why strike 1 is so important for you? Have you dove into the numbers and what that looks like? 0-1 compared to 1-0, winning the 1-1 count?
As soon as you get drafted, you get a couple presentations about like you win 1-0, you win 1-1s, like just the numbers difference, your ERA, hitter's batting average, salary, all that stuff.
All
like,
of it.
You know, all of
All
it.
of it.
Like last year was really the first year that I was like, I'm going to fully make this kind of like my identity as a pitcher. Minor leagues, I still try to kind of, you know, hit corners and dot up and whatever. And yeah, you know, some days you got it, but a lot of the days you don't. Like I talked about, even if you miss by an inch, half an inch, like you're still quote unquote missing spots and you're still out of the zone. So why not just go right at guys?
Just jack
You know,
somebody.
hitting is hard enough as it is. Pitchers are good enough right now as we are. Go be on the offense. Go set the tone. I love the thought process of pitching as offense instead of pitching as defense.
Yes.
You know, set the tone.
Preach.
It's good for everybody. It's good. Gets the defense in it. You know, there's nothing better than going out as a home team. I go out and I set a, you know, whatever it is, 8-9 pitch inning. The boys are going back in to go score some runs. Like better than 25 pitches. I'm trying to dot up. I walk a couple guys. Everybody's, you know,
On their heels.
energy of the game's on their heels. Everything else, like, no, go set the tone. Go be a dog. Go shove it down someone's throat, and then get the boys on offense.
Well, buddy, you are featuring more strikes than a fucking labor union these days, so that absolutely helps things. Game day preparation.
Yeah.
Take us from the minute those eyes crack, the rooster's hollering at you, to the first pitch. How are we preparing to become the hunter?
It takes so much time to like really get to something that works for you. Like I've tried 1,000 different
Routines.
day ofs that.
Sure.
Some were just canned immediately. Some worked a little bit.
What was canned immediately?
Like, I mean, high school, you don't really know, like you're going to class, whatever. College, you start really getting to a little bit. I really struggled in college to like find something that worked. I bounced in between starting and relieving.
You were awful.
Awful.
You were awful.
God awful in college, yeah. But like, it's a good thing to, you know, put it out there. It's like, you don't have to be a first round pick
Sure.
to make it. You don't have to be recruited to, you know, big D1 schools or get drafted to high school or go to all the fancy showcases and all this stuff. Like,
But dude, I think you're a prime example of what it means to commit to the work, what it means to commit to the dream that you have, and understand that you're only going to get out of this thing what you put into it.
Yeah.
So to your point, and obviously I'm saying it in jest, but there were struggles there.
Yeah.
And you were not deterred. You understood, like, I just, there's things I got to do. There's boxes I got to check.
Yep.
And I'll get there eventually.
yeah, for sure.
I want to have a little fun now with you.
Yeah.
Favorite park to pitch in outside of the home ballpark?
I've loved pitching in New York.
Yeah.
You just bright lights, you're in the
Maniacs
city,
all over you.
everyone's all over you, and it's like, all right.
You got any fan interaction
From what?
stories?
I mean, it's not that crazy, but you're in the bullpen and you'll get some chirpy, you know, teenagers or young 20-year-olds that are all over you. Like probably some stuff you maybe can't say on camera, and then some things are just like as simple as, you know, they're on you about every pitch. If you don't hit your spot, they're on you. Even if you do, they're like, it's, you know, it's 450 dead center, whatever it is. But yeah, New York's just, it's a fun place to play. And I think for me, it's like, if you're a true competitor, you love all that stuff.
You're tapping
you
into
know,
that.
you it's something to just like, you got to find something to feed that dog every day and find a reason to pick a team out and be like, all right, well, I'm putting the back of my head and we're going at you today.
Love that. Love that. All right. I don't care if we got to dig him up, and I don't care if he's using a walker. Maybe he's just fresh out of the game 2 years removed. Who do you want to stare down? Who do you want to put in that box and square up against?
I'd probably have two. Growing up watching Barry Bonds.
Sure.
I mean,
Oh,
why not?
that's the test, right?
Yeah,
That's the measuring stick.
That's mano a mano. And then being around Ichiro as much as we are, he's at the yard every day.
How incredible is that to
He's-
watch?
He's an unbelievable baseball player, an unbelievable human being. He plays baseball every day still. Like,
You know that uniform's sewed on, right? Like it's
dude,
attached.
It's like people ask when he throws like the first pitch or they see videos of him. They're like, oh, he just showed up to the yard that one day. Like, no, this dude is working every single day. Like when we're at home, he long tosses on his own, works out, BP, shags early BP, shags regular BP, long tosses with Julio every day.
Yep.
This dude probably works more than maybe anybody on our team, like on a day-to-day basis. And he's, you know, what is he, 50 right
50
now?
something,
50
yeah.
something. He takes like exit velo practice underneath in the cages. Like it's
One of the
it's
most.
unbelievable.
Is there a level of accountability that you feel is installed into the room because he's here?
Yeah, for sure. I think everybody, like, when you show up to the yard and say it's 1 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game or whatever it is, and this dude is like already working.
Yeah, he's sweating
What
his
do you
ass off.
like? What
What's your
immediately he's gonna be
excuse?
like? Yeah, like what do I have to do? Like, he's great about giving advice. He's great about picking your brain from as a pitcher. Like, I try to pick his brain as what he saw as a hitter and like his routine and stuff. I watch him play catch every day. Like, if he's still doing it at 50 with perfect mechanics and on the line, like, why am I not trying to watch him and try to pick up little things? He probably doesn't know this, but I was out there walking, grounding whatever before a game. He's out there playing catch. I took a video of him playing catch and I have it like saved in my phone. And he's like a reason that last year, I think I changed my mechanics a little bit. I wasn't so low. I picked it up a little bit watching him play catch and watching like the fluidity of how the ball came out. And in the back half of the year, I made an adjustment to just raise it up just a little bit and just be a little bit more fluid over the top. And cleaned up my arm path, like was healthy the back half of last year. So like even without him really knowing, like had a big impact on last year.
And that's so good to hear, because something that our game unfortunately is starting to get away from, and I need to see it come back. And I think we are in little bursts, is things like that. You've got a Hall of Famer who just lives at the ballpark.
Yeah.
And you have you yourself a part of one of the most stout rotations that the game of baseball has ever seen. And here you are talking about being able to be maybe a little healthier, a little cleaner through the path, because you're watching some old dude play catch on the diamond before the, like, Jesus, man, that makes me so warm and fuzzy inside to hear that.
Yeah.
because you're a young guy who's actually paying attention to the old dude running around out there, right? You're not pissed that he's in your way. There's information here.
Yeah, I mean, he's not just any other old dude, but
No, that's the
but it's just having the privilege of having him around all the time and like being as great of a person as he is and open to talking to everybody and being able to pick his brain. Like, it's such a privilege to have that every day. So try to take advantage of it as much as we can.
You got one pitch that you're going to have to get rid of.
Okay.
But you can plug in anybody else's pitch. It has to be that one. So if you're banging the sweeper, go find one you like.
Active or anybody?
Fuck anybody. Let's go for it.
Pedro's changeup.
They did a survey back in, I think it was 99 or 2000, and they asked everybody, which pitch would you want?
Yeah.
And across the board, it was Pedro's heater, Pedro's changeup, Pedro's curveball. It was everything.
It's like, there's just nothing better than aesthetically seeing a good changeup, and it's just like,
It's porn. It's pitching porn. It's exactly what it is. You could just keep that on loop, keep the baby oil within elbow reach, and we are going to have ourselves a great night.
Especially as someone who's like, everything for me is based off a heater.
Mm-hmm.
If I can have something that like you pull the string a little bit, you see them get out front, they kind of laugh a little bit, and it's like, I got you.
So what do you prefer? Punchy looking or swinging?
The front hip sinker it's so fun.
You guys, like guys who come up with that, I have to call you an asshole to your face, because I know what you're doing. You're watching them thinking about this ball like going through their rib cage, and then all of a sudden, there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, it's when you dot one, man, there's nothing better.
Well, and you're like, I don't know if you know this about yourself, but when you have stuck one in there, you are like already on your way to the dugout. It's a done deal.
Yeah.
Everybody else is waiting for the call. You know what's about to come though.
Yeah.
Who's your dude? Who's your dude on the wall? Your poster? Who was the guy for you growing up?
Playing infield as a kid, I didn't pitch until I got a little bit older. Brandon Crawford was always my guy. So
smooth.
Yeah, grandparents and my parents grew up Giants fans. When my grandparents came over from China, they lived in San Francisco, so everything was all San Francisco's. Wanting to be an infielder and watching that guy play shortstop and watched him swing from the left side, I mean, there was nothing better.
Dude, it was tough to top.
There was nothing
tough
better.
to top, especially sitting on the other side of the bay. It was impressive to watch.
Yeah.
A hell of a competitor, a great guy to have hanging on your wall.
Yeah.
What does Bryan Woo have to do to take his game to the next level?
I think it's just a consistency thing. I've seen, how good it can be, but knowing, when you go out there and the team knows what they're going to get out of you, you have a pretty good idea of what you're going to get out of yourself. A fixture in the rotation every fifth day. I think that's the biggest thing. I think if you can be consistent with the little things, be consistent with, your routine throughout the week, knowing where your body's at each day of the week, and then day 5, you're taking the ball and you're going to be a dog for all the boys behind you. I think that's the biggest thing. You watch every guy, you know, all the best arms throughout the league and through history, whatever. It's just a consistency thing. They're good. You know what you're going to get out of them. You know, every start throughout the year. If there is a bad start, they're still going 6. They're great. Their good starts are unbelievable. But it's always just right here. You know, it's never too high or too low. It's just stay consistent throughout the year. And you know, I think that's what we're shooting for.
And for the 12 and 13-year-olds who are sitting at home saying, I one day can be just like Bryan Woo, what would be your advice for them?
I think number one is just the joy, the love for the game. Like, don't forget what's most important. We're playing a kid's game. You know, you're in the backyard, you're playing with your buddies, you're playing stickball, whatever it is. Like, that's what we're still all just, you know, little kids that just like playing the game.
Just running around out there.
We're all just fucking around with our boys. Like,
yes,
that's
man.
all it is. That's number one. Always have fun. Always, you know, remember what's most important. And then second is just keep working. Like, keep finding ways to get better. It doesn't matter how small, how big you are. Doesn't matter if you think you're the shit being the number one player in high school or you're literally batting ninth on your JV team. Like, it doesn't matter. Just keep working, keep working, keep working. Because I've been in both, you know, stands now where it's like kids, parents, whatever, today they're like, oh, my 8-year-old isn't on his select whatever team and going to here. And like, guys, like,
We're good.
yeah, pump the brakes a little bit.
We're going to be all right.
Go play some other sports, you know, be a kid, keep working hard, keep finding ways to get better. And, you know, you stay consistent as a kid, as you keep going, you know, you'll be where you need to be.
Bryan Woo coming to a Slab Lab near you.
Thank you.
More than life, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.